How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Pedal. Wow, these headphones are like, what is going on here? Something's broken here. Whoa, these headphones are, whoa, what is going on here? This is weird. Wow, these headphones are like broken or something. 1 second. Wow, that was so weird. The headphones whoa, okay, yeah, that's better. Yeah, the headphones, I don't know, they weren't headphoning, and it was weird because I sounded different to myself in a way that I'm not used to. Today we're studying Daf Pedal, Daf 84 of Masechta Sanhedrin. Friends, your friends. Well, yeah, we're going to finish the 9th parak of Masechta Sanhedrin. We're going to start the 10th parak of Masechta Sanhedrin. Finishing the 9th parak is a bunch of the technical things about what you're chayav misa for and stuff. Misa b'dei shamayim, truma, noser. And then we are going to start the 10th parak, the things that you get strangled for. Exciting times here at Babylon Talmud. Alright. We're going to start at Pei Gimel Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. Aval Arul, Onen, Yoshev, Bazhor. An Arul, somebody doesn't have bris milah. An Onen is somebody whose relative passed away and has not yet been buried. They are an Onen. If a Kohen is an Onen and does the Avodah in the Beis HaMikdash, Yoshev, somebody who does a Kohen who does the Avodah in the Beis HaMikdash sitting, Bazhor. They are not chayav misa b'dei shamayim. They are in violation of mitzvahs lo saseh. So, Minolan, how do we know? So, Arul Minolan, how do we know that an Arul, somebody without a bris milah, a Kohen that does not have a bris milah, that does the avodah in the Beis HaMikdash is chayav misa b'dei shamayim? Amar Rav Chizde ot gezok, Davar ze mitoras Moshe Rabbeinu lo lamadnu. We didn't learn this from the 5 books of Moses. Acher Yechezkel ben Buzi, Yechezkel the son of Buzi came, and he taught us, Kol ben necher arul lev v'arul basar, any ben necher who is a closed heart or doesn't have bris milah, lo yavel al-mikdashi, should not come to my Beis HaMikdash, and if they do, they will be in violation of a mitzvah lo saseh. Onei minolan, how do we know that a kohen whose relative passed away and has not yet been buried, how do we know that this kohen cannot do avodah in the Beis HaMikdash? The Pasuk says, "Umin HaMikdash lo yetzev v'lo yichalal es mikdash Eloikov," that by kohen gadol specifically, it says that when a relative dies, he stays in the Beis HaMikdash and he is not mechal. If a kohen gadol does avodah in the Beis HaMikdash as an onen, it's okay, but specifically a kohen gadol, implying ha'acher shlo yatsa chilel. But any other kohen, a kohen hedget, who stays in the Beis HaMikdash and does not leave when they are in onen and does avodah ba'aninus, will be mechalel. The avodah, it's a problem. They can't do it. So therefore, by serving in the Beis HaMikdash as an onen, doing the avodah in the Beis HaMikdash as an onen, they will be in violation of a mitzvah lo saseh. No, if we're saying that ha'acher shelo yatsa chilel, but if we're saying that a kohen hedget who does avodah in the Beis HaMikdash as an onen is mechalel the avodah, well, why don't we then make the gzeira shava that we've been making all along? Chilul mitruma. Sorry, 1 second. Gotta scratch my ear. Chilul mitruma malaholim b'misa avkam b'misa. So we should say that just like by a kohen who's tameh that eats truma is chayav misa b'dei shamayim, so also an onen who does avodah in the Beis HaMikdash is chayav misa b'dei shamayim. Miksiv begufei michlala ka'asi. To which the Gemara says, well, the thing is, it doesn't explicitly say that a kohen hedget who does avodah in the Beis HaMikdash is mechal. It says that a kohen gadol is not mechal, and therefore we then say, well, that therefore implies that a kohen hedget is mechal. We cannot then say, well, now that we've implied that a kohen hedget is mechal, let's now make a gzeira shava of chilul. No, it doesn't work that way, right? Where am I? This is something that is implied, that a kohen hedget who does avodah as an onen is mechal. Anything that is derived from an implication ain't done also b'gzeira shava. You can't then say, well, now let's make a gzeira shava based on the implication. Kilu, for saying that a kohen gadol is not mechal, implying that a kohen hedget is mechal. Well, now let's make a gzeira shava chilul. No, you can't do that. You can imply that he's mechal. It will be over in a mitzvah lo saise. Sure, but you can't now make a gzeira shava to say it's misa b'dei shamayim. Yoshev Minolan. How do we know that a kohen who serves in the Beis Hamikdash sitting is chayev is over an alav? Omar Rav, Omar Rav Nachman, Omar Kra, Kivoi Bacha Hashem Eloikav Elokecha Mikol Shvatecha, that the Rebbeinu Shalom chose the Kehanim Lamod L'Sharis to stand and to serve. La'amida b'chaytev l'yeshiva. Yeah, you are chosen to stand and serve. But if you're not standing, well, then then you have no business serving me. If you don't business serving me, you're like a zar. And a zar, we said, so you basically, wait, what did kizar? Yeah, alright. Fine. But I guess we're saying that he's not going to be chayav misa b'dei shamayim, probably also because, I guess we can't make a gzeir shava to zar or whatever, but that's interesting. But yeah, I guess as long as we're saying he's over on a lav. Alright, fine. One second. B'misa hu kazar, says Rashi. Misa v'asum mishum de avezar v'shlo yochaz yadam reglam. Shows k'suv boy ki echad. It's a misa v'eim lamdin. Okay. Seder. So basically, if he's sitting, he says, I chose the kohanim to stand. If he's sitting, then I didn't choose him to do it. It's like a zar. However, he wouldn't be chayav misa b'dei shamayim. It's only over on a lav because Rashi says because zar shelo yochaz yadam reglam and shesu yayin shlosh k'suv boy kechad. Therefore, we can extend it to yeshiva. But anyways, okay, fine. Balmum, now when it comes to a balmum, right, if you have a kohen who has a physical blemish, so he's not allowed to serve in the Beis Hamikdash. What if he does? Rebbe Omer b'misa v'chachamim be'azhara. Rebbe says, "U'bi chayav misa b'dei shamayim." Chachamim say he's violating a mitzvah l'saisei. My time to Rebbe. How come Rebbe says he's chayav misa b'dei shamayim? Tichsiv, the pasuk says, "Achal paroiches lo yovel v'gomer." What's the pasuk? The pasuk is, I'm reading the pasuk, "Achal paroiches lo yovel v'lemizbeach lo yigash kimum bo." So it says that he has a mum, and therefore elaprochos lo yavo, he can't go v'lemizbeach lo yigash, right? So be'etzim he will be in violation of a mitzvah lo saisa. But for the Gemara, if we keep on reading, I'm sorry. Right, this is Rebbe. Right. Okay. So Rebbe is saying that you're chayav mitzvah b'dei shamayim. So actually, if we keep on reading that pasuk, right? So it says achal elaprochos lo yavo v'lemizbeach lo yigash. Kimumbo, because he has a mum. V'lo yichalel es mikdashi ki ani Hashem mekadeshim. So it says lo yichalel. V'yalef chilul mitruma, and therefore make the gzeira shava then of chilul from truma ma'alolim b'misa afkan b'misa. So just like a kohen tamei who eats truma is chayav misa b'dei shamayim, so also a kohen with a blemish who serves in the Beis Hamikdash is chayav misa b'dei shamayim. V'nelev chilul minoser. But why don't we have the gzeir shav from noser? I was saying chilul from truma to say misa b'dei shamayim. Let's say chilul from noser to say karis. Malalim karis, afkan b'karis. Just like if you eat noser, you chayav karis. So ochit, a kohen who's a mum, who has a mum, a bal mum, would be chayav karis for doing avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Mistav mitruma avalei lemilaf. He says, yeah, but it makes more sense to learn out a kohen with a bal mum who does avodah from a kohen who's tamei who eats truma. Shekain psul aguf, because both a kohen with a balmum who does the avoda and a kohen who's tamei who eats truma. The issue is that that there is a psul haguf, that they themselves are pasul, either because they have a mum or they are tamei. Whereas noser isn't about the person; it's about the meat. Right? So psul haguf, psul haguf, adarabba. No, fakert. Minosa avalei lemelef. We should learn from noser shekain kodesh, because we're talking about kodshim, right? Whether the kohen with the balmum who is working with kodshim, or whether noser, which is left over kodshim, pnim. We're talking about things that are in the azara. Again, whatever the kohen's doing avodah, the balmum is doing avodah in the azara. Noser is in the azara. Pigov and noser, and then both noser, of course, and a kohen with a mum who's doing avoda involves, things like pigol, noser, which are halachos by korbanos. Okay, so we said that we should learn it out from Truma to say Misa B'dei Shamayim. Then we said, no, why don't you learn it out from Noser to say Karis? So we say, actually we don't learn it out from Truma, rather we learn a Kohen who's a Baal Mum doing the Avoda from a Kohen who's Tameh doing the Avoda, which we learned about yesterday, that a Kohen Tameh is Chayv Misa B'dei Shamayim. Gomar, right? So Ela Mitameh Shishimish Gomar, or maybe Ela Mitameh Shishimish Gomar Psul Haguf, that both a Kohen with a mum who does avoda and a Kohen who's tameh who does avoda, that's a psul aguf, mi psul aguf, and right. So meaning right, both a Kohen who's a bamum and a Kohen who's tameh are psul haguf, kodesh, and both are talking about, right, they're doing avoda, they're working with kodshim, pnim inside the azar, pigul v'noser, and you have to deal with pigul and noser, mi kodesh pnim pigul v'noser, and therefore. One second. Kodesh Pnim. Basically, a Kohen who's Tameh, basically a Kohen who's a Bamum who does the Avoda, and a Kohen who's Tameh who does the Avoda, has all of the characteristics of Noser, but plus the fact that it's a Psul Haguf, and therefore it's a stronger limud to learn it out from a Kohen who's Tameh who works in the Beis HaMikdash, where that is a Chiyuv Misa B'dei Shamayim. Okay. Okay, V'Rabbanon, whereas the rabbis say you're simply over on a lav for serving in the Beis HaMikdash, a Kohen who's a Bamum who serves in the Beis HaMikdash. Amrikar, the puzzle says bo v'lo bamum. It says by Truma the word bo, right? I think it says umesu bo kila v'shamus mishmeres v'lo yisu olav chet umesu bo ki chalu ani Hashem mekadesham, and bo v'lo bamum. It says by Truma bo to the exclusion of a bamum. Hazid be meila. Hazid be meila. If it continues the brisa, that if you have a person who intentionally gets benefit from Kodesh, right? So the pasuk by Me'ilah says, Nefesh kisim amal v'chata b'shgaga mikad Hashem ve'avias Hashem ol Hashem, etc. Right? So when we talk about an Asher Me'ilos, that is when you accidentally benefit from Kodshim. But what if Hazid b'Me'ilah? What if you intentionally benefited from Kodshim? Rabbi Yomi b'Misa. Rabbi says Yechai Misa B'dei Shamayim. Chacham Ba'asar was a Chacham say you're simply over on a lab. My time with the Rabbi Yaakam. Rabbi says Misa B'dei Shamayim. Amar Babo says Babo Gamar Chet Mitruma. Well, it says by Me'ilah, it says Nefesh Kisum Amal V'chata B'shgaga, and by Truma it says V'shamus Mishmarativ Lo Yisul of Chet U'Meisbuki Chalu. Right, so it says Chet by both Malaholim B'Misa, Avkan B'Misa. Just like by Truma we're talking about Misa B'dei Shamayim. So Ochet by Hazid B'Me'ilah, we are talking about Misa B'dei Shamayim. V'Rabbanon Amar Kra Bo V'lo B'Me'ilah. The Chacham say, well, it says Bo, and it's specifically Truma is Chayv Misa B'dei Shamayim, but not Me'ilah. Zor Shishimish B'Mikdash. Oh, so now going back to our Mishnah. Our Mishnah had said that a Zor who serves in the Beis HaMikdash, so Rabbi Akiva had said Chayv Chenek, and the Chacham say, like we said in our Brisa, is Chayv Misa B'dei Shamayim. Okay. Now says the Gemara, Tanya, we talk about the Brisa. Rabbi Shmuel Omer says Rabbi Shmuel Nemer Kan Vazar Karev Yumos. It says by a Zar serving in the temple that a Zar who comes close to the temple Yumos. And it says by Adas Koirach, it says they complained that anybody who gets too close, I think after everybody died, they complained that everybody who gets too close to the Mishkan is going to be killed. And Malaholim B'dei Shemaim Afkam B'dei Shemaim, just like by Koirach and his 250 conspirators, they were all killed B'dei Shemaim. So also Zar Akarev Yumas is B'dei Shamayim. Rabbi Akiva says, Rabbi Akiva Nemer Kan, it says here Vazar Akarev Yumas V'nemer Laholim V'anovi Ahu Ocholim Acholim Ahu you must. And it says by a Navi Amadiach, a Navi who convinces others to do Avodah Zarah, it says you must. Malalim Beskila Avkam Beskila. Just like a Navi Amadiach is Beskila, so also Azara Karev is Beskila. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer, Malalim Bechenek, Avkam Bechenek, was Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says that a Navi Amadiach is Bechenek, so therefore Zara Karev is Bechenek. So we have a three-way machlokas. Either it's Bidei Shamayim, Skila, or Chenek. What's the machlokas over here? Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Akiva. What's machlokas Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Shmuel says Bidei Shamayim, Rabbi Akiva says Skila. Rabbi Akiva Savar Danin Yumas Miyumas V'Danin Yumas Miyamus. So Rabbi Akiva says, well, by Zara Karev it says Yumas. By a Navi Sheidiach it says Yumas. So you learn out Zara Karev from Navi Sheidiach, and that is Skila. As opposed to by Adas Korach it says Yamus. That's a different word. Rabbi Shmuel says Donin Hedget Mi Hedget and Donin Hedget Mi Navi. Rabbi Shmuel says, yeah, I understand it's a different word, but however, by Adas Korach we're talking about regular people. Azar is just a regular person, right? We can't learn it out from a Navi Sheidiach. That's a special person. It's a Navi. We can't learn it out from Navi. Therefore, we have to learn it out from Adas Korach. Rabbi Akiva came in Sheidiach Indcha Hedget Galdu Mizeh. Whereas Rabbi Akiva says Navi Mapitom. He's convincing people to serve Getchkis. There's no bigger Hedget than that. What's pshat with the machlokes of Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri? They're both learning out from Kohen, but from Navi Sheidiach. Why is Rabbi Akiva saying Skila and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is saying Chenek? Beflukta to Rabbi Shimon Rabban. Well, it's a machlokes taka that we've seen before. By Navi Sheidiach, is it Beskila or is it Bechenek? It's machlokes of Shimon Rabbanan. The Tanya Navi Sheidiach Beskila, that a Navi who's Mediach is Beskila. Rabbi Shimon Omer Bechenek says Rabbi Shimon Bechenek. But okay, fine. So now Ha'anan Tanan Rabbi Akiva Omer Bechenek. But one second, we're now saying that Rabbi Akiva is saying Beskila because he says like the Chachamim that it's Beskila. But we said in our Mishnah that Rabbi Akiva says that it's Bechenek. So Trei Tanoi V'Alibud Rabbi Akiva says Taka two Tanoim according to Rabbi Akiva. Right, Rabbi Akiva had several students, and you have different students that were quoting what they heard from Rabbi Akiva, and I guess that they differed. Masnis and Rabbi Shimon V'Alibud Rabbi Akiva. So our Mishnah that says Skila, our Mishnah that says Rabbi Akiva says Chenek, it's his Talmud Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, saying that Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai was saying that Rabbi Akiva's opinion is that Navi Sheidiach is Bechenek. Whereas Brayso Rabbanan V'Alibud Rabbi Akiva, whereas the Brayso where Rabbi Akiva says Skila, that is his other students quoting him as saying Skila. Hadron Alach Elin and Esrafin. That's cool because we always say Yachid Rab Malacha Kirabim, right? And it's kind of cool because as we learned as we're going to learn in 2 days from now. That Stam Asis Reb Meir, Stam Tosefta Reb Nechemia, Stam Sefra Reb Yehuda, Stam Sefra Reb Shimon, V'chol Alibud Reb Meir. That all of his students were basically Reb Shimon, Reb Meir, right, etc. They were all quoting their teacher Reb Akiva, basically. So therefore, basically everyone's just quoting Reb Akiva. So if you have Reb Shimon, he's basically quoting. So if Reb Shimon saying that Navi Sheidiach is Bechenek, he's saying basically that. Well, Rabbi Akiva taught us that it's Bechenek. But then the Rabbanan, that's like Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yossi, etc. Right? They're saying, no, Rabbi Akiva had said it's Beskila. So basically everyone's differing about what Rabbi Akiva said. So you'll go based on, makes sense to go based on, the majority of people are saying that what Rabbi Akiva said is Skila. So we'll go based on that. But anyways, it's kind of interesting. It's not just like the majority opinion is what I'm saying. It's not just like Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda. They all arrived at the conclusion that it's Skila. No, they learned from Rabbi Akiva that it's Skila. But also because remember at that time nothing was written down yet, right? Mishnayos were only written down the next generation. Rebbe wrote down the Mishnayos until nothing was written down. So everything that they knew was from their tradition, and they were students of Rabbi Akiva. So basically, the Chacham means that basically Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Nechemia, right? Rabbi Elazar ben Shamua, right? They're basically saying, well, Rabbi Akiva said this. Rabbi Shimon is saying, no, Rabbi Akiva said that. So we're going to follow the majority. Anyways, sorry, a little bit of a tangent, but just interesting to think about things in those ways. Okay, now starting in the 10th parak of Masechta Sanhedrin. Eluena nechnokin. The following people are strangled. Hamaka aviv imo, somebody who strikes his father and mother. V'goniv nefesh miYisrael, a kidnapper. V'zakin mami api bezdin, a elder who rebels against the opinion of Bezdin. Bezdin says one thing, and he tells people to do another thing. V'navi asheker, and a false prophet. V'amisnabi b'shem avedis kichovim, somebody who prophecies in the name of the Getchkis. Ve'aba al eshes ish, somebody who sleeps with a married woman. And a baskoin shezinsa, of course we know, is bisreifa, but it says he boish tisarif, that we burn her, she gets sreifa, but her boel, the one who sleeps with her, is not sreifa. It would be whatever, if she's a married eshes ish, that would be chenek. If it is, which is what our Mishnah is talking about, she's a nar marasa, it would be skila. So our Mishnah is assuming that if she is a eshes ish, so then her boel would be chenek. And also, if there were edim zomim, witnesses came and said that that this baskoin was mezaneh, and they became edim zomim, they would not get sreifa, they would get chenek, assuming that she is an eshes ish rather than a nar marasa. Okay. How do we know that somebody is chayv chenek for striking their father and or mother? The Pasuk says that a person strikes his father and mother mos yumas. Whenever you have just a nondescript misa in the Torah, ena elo chenek. We're talking about chenek, and that is how we know that makavimo is be chenek. Ema dekatil lei. But let's say that you have to kill. You only chayv if you kill your father and mother, not just striking, but killing your father and mother. You chayv chenek, but that doesn't make sense because miktel sakadaitech. Do you really think we're talking about a child who kills his parents is chayv chenek? Katochad b'sayv av b'chenek. I don't understand. According to the Chachamim, of course, skila seifa hereg b'chenek. Chenek is the most lenient, so to speak, of the Arba Misos Bezdin. Now, it wouldn't make sense. It would defy logic to say that a person kills a random Tom, Dick, or Harry. He's chayiv sayif, which is the second to least. Kilu is 3 out of 4, right? And in terms of severity of punishments, according to the Chacham, most severe is skila, then streifa, then hereg, then chenek. It's 3 out of 4 in terms of severity. So if you kill just a random Tom, Dick, or Harry, you'll be chayiv sayif, which is the 3rd out of 4 in terms of severity. Anyways. But if you kill your parent, so then you only chayiv chenek, which is the least severe of them all. Like, I would think that killing one's parent would be more severe than killing a Tom, a Dick, or a Harry. So we suggested maybe it means they only chayiv chenek if you kill your parent. But that wouldn't make sense because killing a Tom, Dick, or Harry would be saif. How does it make sense to say that a parent is chenek, which is more lenient? But the hanicha, the manda omer chenek kal. Well, yeah, that's a valid argument if in fact you say that chenek is more lenient than saif. But of course, according to Reb Shimon, the order of things is sreifa, skila, chenek, vehereg, and therefore chenek is more stringent than saif. Saif is the most lenient to slice off somebody's head. So therefore, in that case, if you kill a Tom, a Dick, or a Harry, so you chayiv saif. But if you kill your parent, it is bumped up to chenek. So in that case, I can understand why it's chenek. Maybe you do have to kill your parents in order to be chayiv. Elamidichsiv make ish vomes mos yumas uchsiv obeve kou biyado vayamos. That kilu, we just quoted 2 psukim where it has the verb of haka'ah, to hit, to strike, and it also has in the pasuk and that victim dies. I.e., if the Torah was being mechayev only for if the person dies, it would tell you that. Here it doesn't say that. It just says makav vima mos yumas. It doesn't say vames mos yumas that the parent needs to die. Therefore, since that is conspicuously left out, therefore it is not a factor. The parent does not need to die. Again, make ish vames mos yumas. If you strike somebody and he dies, mos yumas. O be'eva he ko biyado vayamos, or you stroke him out of anger and he died, or hate and he died. So shmamino kolichdika hakoya stam lav misu. That means that if it just says hakoya without misa, right, without saying that the victim died, well then we're talking about striking even without death. Okay, now we have two psukim by hitting people. One says make ish, that you hit an ish. The other one says that you hit a nefesh. You need both. The kosav achmona make ish vames havamina ish de bar mitzvah in ka'in lo. If we only add make ish vames, I would think that you're only liable for striking an ish. What about a katan? No, you'd be potter for striking a katan. Or killing instead, murdering a katan. So kosav achmona kol make nefesh. Therefore it says kol make nefesh. No, any soul. If you kosav achmona kol make nefesh havamina afilu nefalim afilu ben shmeina. But if it says any soul, I might think that even includes a nefel, right? A baby who is not determined yet to be viable, or a baby born after 8 months of pregnancy, which is also assumed not to be viable. So it says no, make ish, you only chayiv for striking a child that's viable to the exclusion of a nefel or a ben shmona tzricha. Therefore, we need both make ish to say that to exclude nefel and ben shmona, and we also need nefesh to include ketanim. Now the Gemara says, okay, but maybe I will say that when one strikes a parent, they are liable even if there's no bleeding, there's no wound. So Allah matanan, but why do we learn? I believe in the next Mishnah, that you only chayiv for make aviv v'imo if you attack and make a chabura, if you make a wound, make them bleed. So amarka make adam umake behema, right? Of course, the pasuk says make behema yishamenu make adam yumos, that we juxtapose striking a person and striking an animal. So make behema de avid b'chabura, just like by an animal. You're only chayiv if you make a chabura. You have to make a chabura. You have to make it bleed in order to be liable for damages. Dichsiv ba nefesh, because it says nefesh, right? Adam hu nefesh. You have to make it bleed. So therefore, we'll say the same thing. Therefore, applies to striking a person, that you must make a wound in order to be chayiv. Maskefla Rav Yirmiyah. Rav Yirmiyah says, wait 1 second. Did you just say that you're only chayiv for damaging an animal if the animal bleeds? I understand. What? If I take stones and I chuck it at an animal and break the animal's leg and now it can't walk, I'm potter because it's not bleeding? That's ridiculous. No. Of course you're chayiv for damaging an animal regardless of if it bleeds or not. If you cause damages, you're liable. So then what's the deal with umake nefesh behema yishamena? What's the deal with nefesh then? Doesn't that mean blood? Well, clearly it's not talking about an animal, because an animal you'd be chayiv even without bleeding. So elim enu inyan lenefesh behema da inami akrisha b'avodim chayiv. So if nefesh is not in reference to an animal, because you'll be chayiv even for weakening it with stones, taneu inyan lenefesh adam. We'll then say it's talking about nefesh adam, i.e. that you'd only be chayiv for striking a person is only chayiv for striking their parent if the parent bleeds, because we use nefesh for that. Okay, but if we're learning out that you're chayiv for striking your parents only if there is a wound from the fact that it says nefesh and it's out of place by behema, so we say it applies to that parent. Okay, then what's the deal with that juxtaposition? Because we were convinced a second ago that it's because we juxtapose behema and people, but we said no, that's not a thing. So what's the deal with the juxtaposition? What do we do with it? It's needed for the Tanit v'chizka that we learned the other day, that that we compare behema and ish to say that just like a behema you're always going to be chayiv, right? Because adam muad la'olam, you're always going to be chayiv, shogeg, mezid, onis, ratzon. You're always going to be chayiv to pay money, and the same thing applies to people. If you kill a person, right? Miskavin la'arog hazeh b'harik hazeh. We saw that Rabbi Shmuel says that Tanit Vechizkiah says that you will always be patur from paying mammon. Kilu, if you did it intentionally, you killed somebody and you're chayiv misa, so you're not going to have to pay mammon. And even if it was niskavin la'arog hazeh b'harik hazeh, still you're going to be patur from mammon. You're not going to have to pay money. Okay, and that's no doubt from that juxtaposition of Adam and Behema. Okay, that's all fine and good if you hold of that Tanit Vechizkiah. We saw at the time by Niskavin, we saw there was also the opinion of Rebbe who says that you do pay money, and we saw that there was the opinion of the Chachamim who said that you chayiv misa by Niskavin, right? So we saw different opinions. So what about those opinions that don't hold of Tanit Vechizkiah? Where am I? Okay, but if you don't hold of Tanit Vechizkiah comparing Adam and Behema, so then what is the deal with the juxtaposition? What do you do with it? So well, just like if you cause an animal to bleed in the context of refuah, of healing it, you're patur. So also, if you cause I assume one's parent to bleed in the context of refuah, you would be patur. Because we ask, Ben Ma'ushe can a child bloodlet for his father for healing purposes? Rav Masna says yes, a child can, because it's right? We're only prevented from doing things to other people that you wouldn't want done to yourself. But a medical procedure that is going to help you is something that one would want, presumably done for themselves. Therefore, they could do it to their parent. Rav Dimi Bar Chinina Amar, whereas Rav Dimi Bar Chinina says that we compare Maka Adam and Maka Behema Maka Behema l'refuah patur, just like you're not right. You're patur for damaging an animal, making an animal bleed if it's for refuah purposes. That's acceptable. Af Maka Adam l'refuah patur. Also, when it comes to people, making a wound for refuah is okay. And that extends to your parent as well. Rav lo shavik livrei lemishkol le'silva. Rav did not allow. Some say Gosabach says or Papa didn't allow his son to remove a splinter from him, just in case he would bleed. My brother Ravina lo shavik livrei lemiftach lekavsa. My brother Ravina would not allow his son to open up a boil, if he had like a blister or a boil, to mechavil v'avle shigagas Isser, because he was concerned that maybe he would bleed, and then his child didn't intend for him to bleed. However, it would be a shkaga in the context of an Isser, right? You're not allowed to make your father bleed, and therefore, even though it was unintentional, we just want to avoid the whole concept of making one's parent bleed, which is an Isser. If that's the case, acher nami. If that's the case, I mean, you're not allowed to make anybody bleed, right? Yeah, you're not allowed to make your parents bleed, but you can't make anybody bleed. You can't just go and, cut somebody. You can't do that. So I shouldn't be able to bloodlet from anybody, or, open up a boil for anybody. So acher shigigas lav b'no shigigas chenek. Yeah, but there is kind of a difference in that when it comes to somebody else. It's just a lav, right? We're going to learn about it in Makis, probably about what was it? Lo Yosef Pentosif? Is that what it is? Where am I? Lo Yosef Pen Yosef, right? It says by Makis, right? By Makis, when you whip people, so you can only whip them the amount that you're supposed to, not any more than that, right? If you do, that's a lav. So by other people, if you cause them to bleed, so it's just a lav. But if you cause your father to bleed, that is a chiyuv chenek. So therefore, because it's a more severe punishment, it's misa misa, it's misa's bezdin. So therefore, we don't want to play games. We don't even want to allow, for refuah. Okay. I mean, we gave examples of removing splinters and things like that, at least. And that which we learned in the Mishnah, Machat shel yad litoba es akos. We said we said in Masechta Shabbos that you can that a needle for removing a splinter is not muksa. But shouldn't we be concerned that, well, what if you end up bleeding when you take out that splinter? Well, that would be a shgaga, a mistake in the context of skila. I thought that shouldn't be allowed. Just like you're not allowed to, right? Just like we saw that people wouldn't remove splinters from their parents because they don't want to risk them bleeding even though it's unintentional. So here also, you shouldn't be able to remove a splinter on Shabbos because you might bleed, even if it's unintentional, because Shabbos is a skila. So also mekalkalu, well, yeah, but it is going to be mekalkal. Kilu, it's destructive, right? Right. The meleches machsheves on Shabbos is also not mekalkal, and therefore you'd be potter. Hanichel mandamer mekalkal potter, but okay, if you that's all fine and good if you say mekalkal is potter. El mandamer chayiv, but if you say mekalkal on Shabbos is chayiv, Michael Meimer man shamas leidamer mekalkal b'chabura chayiv. Yeah, but whose opinion is it that mekalkal b'chabura on Shabbos is chayiv? Reb Shimon ha'amakom malacha she'en tzricha legufa potter lei. Reb Shimon says any malacha she'en tzricha legufa. Shimon says any malacha that is not needed for it itself, right? Kilu, over here the intention is not to make the chabura. The intention is to remove the splinter. So therefore it will be potter for making the chabura. So there isn't actually a concern with removing the splinter on Shabbos, since it's mekalkal, or at the very least malacha she'en tzricha legufa. Friends, that was the Peidalid, the first Amud, the Peidalid Amud Aleph. We kind of finished, we wrapped up the 9th parak of Masechta Sanhedrin. We were talking about more things that, like, you know, if you do in the Beis Hamikdash, you over on a lav, maybe Misa B'dei Shamayim, maybe, just over on a lav. We talked about Hazara Karav Yumos, things like that. And then we started the parak of Eluin and Nechnakin, and we got started on the sugya of somebody who strikes their parents. That's a chiyuv chenek. Peace out.